Hey, you're listening to the Tales of a Gearhead podcast. This is brought to you by Cornwell Tools. I'm your host, Stacey David. And Cornwell Tools are the choice of professionals, but not just professionals. Also, for everybody that wants to do any kind of quality work with quality tools, better check out Cornwell. All right, let's get to it. All right, so the big news, if you haven't heard it, is that Ford is bringing back the small truck. You guys remember the little Ranger that was so cool? You know, Chevy had the S10. Whatever happened to those little trucks? They were so cool, man. They were so fun. Clear back to the old Chevy loves. And then they all disappeared. Everybody's been lamenting the fact that they're gone ever since. Well, Ford in 2022 is going to bring back a smaller truck. And it's called, wait for it, here it is, the Maverick. You remember the Maverick cars? Gosh, those were cool with a V8 in them, man. Anyway, so Ford is taking the Maverick name and putting it on a light work truck. Now, they've been pretty hush-hush about this, but the more we see about it, Ford seems to think that this is going to be the perfect work truck. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Work truck, and it's a small truck? I don't know. I don't know what kind of work they're thinking that most truck guys do. But a small truck may not be the truck we're after. So let's dig into this a little bit. Here's the first big plus. It's going to be the most affordable vehicle in their fleet. That's always a good thing. But it's a smart move since pickup trucks are one of the most popular things in the market. So putting something out with a low price point it was the whole idea we did with the Express with Ram. Was try to get an affordable truck out there with a V8. Now they're going to offer this thing as a hybrid. It'll get 40 miles to the gallon, and that's obviously a big selling point. And it's going to have 191 horsepower and 155 foot-pounds. And it will be available in front-wheel drive only. Now, I know a lot of you are like, oh, great, that's a work truck, a hybrid? Well, for guys that are making deliveries around town and doing that kind of thing that you would use a smaller truck, yeah, that might be a good way to go. The best news is they will also have it in an all-wheel drive option, powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 250 horsepower, 277 foot-pounds, and it will have an 8-speed transmission. So the mileage is still going to be good. That's a decent little engine in there. So you slap a turbo on that thing and be rocking. See, you're already thinking. You're looking at something like that. Now, you're thinking towing. What is the towing capacity of this? Well, they said it'll tow up to 4,000 pounds, which is, respectable. Keep in mind, this is a small truck. I know you diesel guys are going, what the heck? Well, so it's 4,000 pounds. So it's a small trailer. And it will fit an entire family or work crew because you've got the 4 doors. So that's a couple of the big points that they're saying about it. Now, for you guys that are spec guys, here's how it measures up to the Ranger, the full-size Ranger truck. The Maverick is just a little over 68 inches tall and just under 200 inches long. Now, compared to the Ranger, which is 71 inches tall and is 210 inches. So there's a couple inches lower and about 10 inches shorter. Now, here's kind of an issue for me. They're going to be equipped with the 4.5-foot bed. Let me repeat that. A 4.5-foot bed. Yeah, that's kind of small. So you kind of see where they're going with this. You got a 4-door truck with basically a small cargo bed. Now, they say if you put the tailgate down, you can squeeze it into a 6-foot bed with the tailgate down. Now, for those of us that have lost cargo out the bed of trucks because the tailgate was down, most of us don't like to have the tailgate down. So, but that is, it is a small truck, so that is something to keep in mind. And there is nothing else on it, nothing else like it on the market. So that's really cool. Your towing is down a little bit, your cargo's down a little bit, but the mileage is up and it's affordable. So, I think this is a good thing. I've been waiting for the small truck to come back. I knew it was because it was so popular, back in the day. We'll see what the others come out with too. The big thing is right now they're taking orders. They're expecting deliveries in the fall. Well, I know you guys have seen what's been going on with the chips and all the other things with new cars. So we will see if this actually hits the market when it should. I'm still waiting to see the Broncos hit the market like they're supposed to. Okay, Jonathan, what do you think about the Maverick? Would you buy one?
Okay, so I got a quick question for you. What isn't that really similar to what Ford put out a few years back?
The Sport Track. It looks just like it. That and the Honda Ridgeline.
Okay, yeah, right. It's right, because that was a small bed four-door truck concept. Other than this has a hybrid.
Yeah.
They're saying it's the lowest priced version, which it should be. It's the smallest. Does it say anywhere in there, what's the price jump if you go to an actual four-cylinder motor?
Yeah, they leave all of that, the specifics off at this point. And I think usually when they do that, they haven't decided yet. And they throw these flyers out that we get, to kind of test the audience out there and see, if they get enough people saying, it sucks, we don't want the hybrid, then they won't offer the hybrid. And if enough people clamor and say, we want a V8, they'll slap a V8 in it. The small truck has always been a difficult market. If you have the specific place for it, if you're pulling your motorcycles or something like that, yeah. But if you're pulling a trailer with a car on it, you better be careful, man.
It also seems like with a small truck market, it's like get away from the four-door model.
Yeah.
Get away from the four-door model. What can you put in a 4.5-foot bed that like you can't? If I were lucky, I could get my Triumph in the back.
You can put your dog back there.
Right.
You put, a couple of watermelons. I just saw one of the old Chevy Loves the other day. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Those were so cool. And man, those with the V8 were the hot ticket. And then, of course, the S10, that ruled, the 80s and 90s. Those were the trucks. But see, they were all single cabs. And I'm like you, I like the single cab look on a truck, especially on a mini truck or a small truck.
I saw the coolest thing the other day. I was coming past there's an auto garage.
Yeah.
Right off the highway. And I was coming around the off-ramp and getting on the road going towards his house. And right off in the parking lot of this garage do you remember the old Volkswagen squareback station wagons?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, someone had taken a squareback. I'm almost positive this is what they did, because I don't know if Volkswagen actually did a pickup of this version, but it looked like they had cut the rear end off of it.
Yes.
And turned it into a Volkswagen squareback pickup.
Yes. Was it a flatbed?
It was not a flatbed. They kept the sidewall up, but just driving by it, I was like, that looked like someone, had done it in their garage at home at some point.
Yeah. I know that Volkswagen did a lot of crazy things from the factory, and there were also kits where you could cut those and make them into a flatbed and that kind of thing. But it could have been a factory deal. They did it with the van, too. Remember the old Volkswagen van? They offered those that had 2 seats up in the front, and then it was a pickup on back. And they were kind of like the Greenbrier pickup that Corvair did. And they're pretty rare. These little pickups and these, 4-door cabs and stuff, this is not new stuff. These guys have been experimenting with this forever. They don't ever seem to quite get it right. I don't know. So what do you think of the use of the name Maverick on it?
It's a little sketchy to me, because I was like, and I guess because I
guess it was that or Pinto.
Right. I guess, though, because they reissued the Ranger, that's really a big truck still. And I was hoping that would just be a regular 2-door pickup truck, maybe a flop down seat in the back, who knows? But not like a 4-door, and everybody's doing a 4-door truck. But Maverick, that just kind of, I remember if you saw someone driving down the road in a Maverick, just like you're saying with Pinto, everybody was like, it's a Maverick.
There was just something about the Maverick name that just didn't have that excitement. Maverick. I don't know what it was. But see, like Dodge, they had the Rebel, the Ram, or the Express. Well, even Ranger, the Ford Ranger and the Bronco, those are great names. Maverick, I don't know. I just think of the car.
And the car was, there was nothing really, super strong about the looks of the Maverick.
Yeah.
From what I remember going to church with a family that had one, they were kind of like a Pinto, kind of rounded out. And
they were the...
What was the Pinto hatchback? Was that the Bobcat?
Yeah, that was the Mercury version.
Oh, that was the Mercury, right.
They had the Bobcat. And then, of course, there was a Chevy Vega.
Yes.
Now, any of those, man, you stick a V8 in them, those were the hot cars of the day. But you twist them all up. They had frames of tinfoil. You'd see them all bent up, man. I liked them because, the hottest car in my neighborhood when I was a kid was a Pinto with a 302 in it. Man, it was a mother. You didn't mess with that car. But the guy had really built it up. He's obviously a big Bob Glidden fan who was running a Pinto at the time on the drag strip. So there were some things that the people did with them, but just the overall ambiance was not what you wanted. So what you driving there, man? A Pinto? No, I have a Maverick. All the Maverick guys are going to ride in and go, hey, wait a minute. It's like, I like them. It's just, I'm not sure that name goes on a pickup. So we'll see. All right, I've got a question for you guys. What is the most important tool in your garage? All right, I know you're thinking. Come on. Give me, yeah, all right. All right, well, it's probably the one you use the most. And that would be your sockets, your ratchets, your screwdrivers, and your wrenches. And if you want quality tools there, you probably ought to check out somebody like Cornwell. Now, granted, you can get some cheaper tools. And honestly, there's a place for those ones that you want to bend up and heat and go into certain places, and those screwdrivers you don't mind screwing up. Well, that's where you get the cheap stuff. But if you want real quality tools that are going to last and have a warranty, that's where you need to check out somebody like Cornwell. They've been doing it forever, and believe me, you do get what you pay for. Well, there's no question that 2020 and 2021 have been challenging years for the automotive industry and for the aftermarket. Surprisingly enough, the aftermarket has done pretty well because people have been at home, had a little more extra time, so they have been working on their projects. And so they've been buying parts, and that has really helped the aftermarket industry. Except for now, there's shortages in some of the supply lines, so that is another challenge. All in all, the aftermarket is doing pretty well. Who is not doing as well is the new car manufacturers. I'm sure you guys have seen the shortage of chips, which is always a problem. Now, seriously, the chip that all of these computer vehicles run off of, there's a shortage. So there are hundreds, thousands of these cars sitting in, stadiums and airport runways as the manufacturers are waiting to get chips for them. And then what just happened? There was a flood in Michigan. I think, Jonathan, what'd you say? These cars are 4 feet underwater?
What I saw coming up into the windows.
Yeah, into the windows. Okay, now for those of you that have not experienced a flood car, when the water's that deep, those cars are totaled. You do not want a car that's been in that deep of water, especially a newer car. Now, if it was an old Volkswagen Beetle or something with a carburetor, sure, you can clean that up. But all these cars that are loaded with all these new electronics, oh man, you've got so many wiring looms and connectors and stuff. You got a problem. And so the manufacturers are really struggling. As we said before, the Bronco was supposed to come out. It was delayed and still hasn't really come out like it should. The Corvette, the C8 Corvette, that should have been a really big deal, and it just kind of slunk out. I mean, they're out now, but boy, it did not create the stir that the Chevrolet was wanting. I've gotten wind of other vehicles that are coming out. Ford is maybe thinking about coming out with a vehicle to compete with the Stingray. That's the buzz that I'm hearing about. What that would be, I don't know. But if obviously the Stingray, the Corvette, is a 2-seat sports car. Ford has never really done that except for the GT, which is a whole different class of vehicle than the Corvette is. The reason I bring this up, the hottest thing on the market right now is used cars. We literally have people that are calling us up saying, hey man, you want to sell your truck? My old beat up truck, because used cars are the hot commodity right now. So it may be worth your while. If you have a vehicle that's within 5 years old, 5 to 7, you can literally go down and almost get what you paid for it back and get a brand new vehicle because the manufacturers are reducing the prices just so they sell cars. So you can work a deal to where you almost get into a new car for nothing. If that's the case, I've seen some people do that. That's actually possible for like the next 38 minutes because this thing changes so quickly. You don't know how long that's going to get. or you don't know how long that's going to go. If you are in the market for a new car, it may be worth your while to check something out. Just make sure it's got a chip in it. Because you don't want one of those cars. Yeah, here's your new car sitting out there with 4 feet of water in it. Good luck, submarine boy. All right, the big news of today. Of course, some of you guys may already have heard this by the time you listen to this podcast, but Neil Peart, the legendary drummer for Rush, obviously passed away a little while ago, but his collection is going up for sale. And what a collection it is. Neil obviously had a affiliation for silver cars because virtually every car in his collection is silver. We've got a mid-60s Aston Martin DB5, like the Goldfinger car. We have a 63 Corvette Coupe, so it's the split window. What a cool car. There's a Maserati. There's a 70 Lamborghini Miura. There's a 64 Jag XKE Coupe. A 64 Shelby 289 Cobra. And it's not silver. That's the only car that's not silver. Now, you can see that he obviously liked 60s cars. And man, what a collection. What a drummer, though. You know, I always love to hear when these music guys are car guys as well. And you'd be surprised how many there are because, you know, cars and guitars kind of go hand in hand. Or in this case, cars and drums. Now, for those of you that have not experienced Rush, I don't mean like a Rush, like a head rush. I'm talking about Rush the band, just to be clear here. Neil Peart, you know, gosh, you know, was he the best drummer that ever played? You know, you can't make that, you know, statement, but I'll tell you what, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody better. His drum solos are just legendary. And, well, the whole band is. You know, Rush was one of those bands that we call it, you know, in the music industry, a musician's band. In other words, it's the band that musicians listen to. You know, they didn't have the commercial success that a lot of, you know, the big supergroups did, but as far as just, you know, a band, you know, Rush was it. And that, you know, brings up a question. You know, they're talking about, you know, since Neil passed away, Rush has said that, you know, they'll never tour again, which I think is a smart thing. I mean, how can they tour without him? You know, I'm sure there's a lot of great drummers out there, but I don't know. That kind of brings up an interesting question. And that, what do you think, Jonathan? You're a musician. What do you think about bands that they've lost a significant member and then continue to tour with somebody else? You like that?
You know, that's really interesting because I think with Rush, because they are a three-piece and those guys were together forever, I think it would be really strange to see them play with a different drummer.
You know, it's like that when Journey went out and had the new kid that's singing for him, and he's like trying to be Steve Perry. I don't know. To me, it's. I mean, the kid's good. I mean, he sounds good, but it's kind of like watching an Elvis impersonator to me. But anyway, back to his collection here. So you got an Aston Martin DB5, you have a '63 Vet, you have 64 Jag XKE Coupe, Lamborghini Miura, 64 Shelby Cobra. Which one do you think is going to bring the biggest money at the auction? Well, they're thinking that the Lamborghini Miura is going to bring $1.5 million. I didn't realize those were going for that much now. They say that the Shelby Cobra is probably going to go for $1 million. So they're thinking those are going to be the two high ones. And I'm like, I don't think they have priced the Aston Martin DB5s lately. I mean, those things go high, man. All of these. I think the Jag XKE is probably the cheapest car. That'd probably go for $100,000. Which one would you rather have, Jonathan?
Oh, man, that Lamborghini would be so awesome. Like, I mean, you know, just think about how cool it would be to shut the door, hear the door shut, you turn the key, you start it up, and you're like, Neil Peart used to drive this. And then you just hit the road running. I mean, that'd be so cool.
You could not drive it without drumming on the steering wheel. You'd have to hit little drum beats. You'd have to.
Oh, yeah.
It's Neil Peart's car.
You'd have to put in Tom Sawyer and do the drum break.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the world famous steering wheel drum break for anyone that ever heard that when they were driving their car.
All right, that's it for today. Once again, we're brought to you by Cornwell Tools. Have a great day and get out there and work on something.